I am joined by three really incredible professionals that I cannot wait to introduce you to. Each of these women is not only accomplished, but an absolutely inspirational leader. And over the course of the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to get to hear a little bit from each of them about how they got to where they are today, a little bit of insight into their journey, maybe some successes and some challenges, and hopefully a peek through their lens into the future. What they see ahead, not only for our industry, but as for women, as professionals in the mortgage and real estate space. So without further ado, let's get started. We'll do some quick introductions and then we'll get right into some questions. I'd like to start with Ann. Ann Sugai, would you like to introduce yourself to the group?
Good morning, Derek. Thank you for having me. Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I'm super excited because I'm surrounded by some wonderful leaders within JP Morgan Chase that I value working with, as well as Derek. So thank you for having me today. My name is Ann Sugai. I'm the divisional director for California, and I have the great pleasure of running all the residential mortgages throughout the state of California. And I've been here for 29 years. So I feel like I grew up within the organization and have been afforded a lot of opportunity, but I'm certainly super happy to be here, and thank you for having me.
Thanks so much, Ann. And I see Sarita Battles. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. And I'm just as excited to be here with everyone and to see all of the beautiful women and Derek on the call. And so I just wanted to say, really excited. My name is Sarita Battles. I head up the community and affordable lending strategy group here at JP Morgan Chase. I've been in the financial industry for over 31 years, with 23 years dedicated specifically to mortgage, and specifically in this space of diversity. And so in my role, I'm responsible for creating strategies to increase minority home ownership across the full economic spectrum, and to increase home ownership among low to moderate income customers and communities as well. And so I'm really excited to be here. And I will tell you, I am 2.5 months in to JP Morgan Chase.
Thanks so much, Sarita, and we're excited that you're here too. And thanks for allowing me to be part of it. And last but certainly not least, Kalina Sanders. Kalina?
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm super excited to be here. As Derek said, my name is Kalina Sanders, and I'm the National Home Lending Development Director. I know that's a pretty lengthy name, and if you're anything like me, I like simplification, so you can call me the HLDD. My team is responsible for coming up with all of the strategic initiatives for home lending, specifically for the Chase branches that don't have an in-person home lending advisor. As you know, today, the way that our customers do business and the way that we do business is quite different, especially during COVID. Look at us now, we're having a Zoom meeting today. So many of our transactions are done online. So my team is really responsible for ensuring we're maintaining the same level of service that you would get with an in-person home lending advisor, but in a more digital and innovative way.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kalina. So to give everybody a little bit of a frame of reference, I think it would be great if we could have each of the panelists just give a little bit of insight into your professional journey. Maybe some of the key milestones or key moments of development for yourself that navigated your path to where you are today. And in order to get started, I think, Ann, maybe if you want to kick us off and just give us a little bit of a view of what your journey's been like.
Sure. Thanks, Derek. So, I've been with the company for 29 years and certainly have learned a lot. I will just give you a quick story of maybe one of the pivotal points, I think, in my career that really made me stop and reflect on how I want to show up as a leader within the organization. It was in 2010. I was a newly promoted manager of an area. So I had like all of San Diego and the Inland Empire area of California. And, I wasn't doing well. I wasn't connecting with my people. Um, and I wasn't used to managing managers. And so that was a new thing for me too. But I really had to stop and listen to the feedback. And what I really found was that, a new person coming in, I wasn't that vulnerable. And I really had to stop and listen to the feedback of my team and figure out how I could pivot to be, a more thoughtful leader, one that could connect. And I think the magic that we have going on within our team is that we are connected and we're vulnerable with each other. And that's not something that was in my comfort zone. Just growing up in a Japanese household, it was work, 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 put up a brave face, and that's kind of what I was used to. And but I just really had to learn how to be more vulnerable with my team, how to let them know when I was struggling with things, how to be happy and show that too, right? But I really had to stop and listen to some of my peers, um, take the surveys that we do within the organization to listen to the feedback. And once I pivoted and changed, I changed my wardrobe. I wore suits every day, a pantsuit, and I looked very intimidating. So I switched it up. So now you'll know why I always wear dresses is because it's a softer touch. But it changed the perception of me to be a little bit more personal. So that was a kind of a pivotal moment for me, in my opinion. Thanks, Derek.
That's awesome, Ian. Thanks so much. And same question. I'll send it over to Kalina. Looking back on your career, I'm sure there's been several moments or key moments for you, but what's been the most pivotal for you in sort of framing up your journey to where you're at today?
Yeah, Derek, I think one might make the assumption that in the banking and finance industry, that most people are trained to be experts. And it's just a matter of engaging, following process and discipline. And I would argue that that's not always the case. That is important, but I think it's so very important throughout my career, all my roles. It's important to sustain a certain balance of intellectual curiosity and unwavering commitment to myself. So when I think about the last 15 years of this economy, right, we've had highs and we certainly had lows in the mortgage industry. And my journey through all of this, I would say, has been challenging and rewarding all at the same time. And throughout my early careers, I've been in the industry now slightly over 20 years. And I started off in originations. I was a broker owner and I worked in the fulfillment capacity. But back in 2007, like many of you that have been in the industry for a really long time, that was during a financial crisis. And I decided that I needed to make a change, right? And this change was going to be a little bit different. And this took me through a different journey. I joined a company called EMC, which was a subsidiary of Bear Stearns, which is now, as we know, is Chase. And I want to emphasize, and I think Ann touched on it, getting out of your comfort zone, because I was so used to sales and fulfillment. And when you think about like complacency can certainly make or break you, and it could block a blessing and or opportunity. And when I look at myself being a double minority, Black and a female woman, you have to work more confidently and more strategically. And throughout my 13 years that I've been at Chase, I've crossed multiple lines of business. I've moved territories. I've lateral, I've promoted, and I've carried, I've held various different roles within the organization. In the end, though, all of this was so very important and fundamental to my career. I feel happy to be working for an organization like Chase, right, that has allowed me to have these opportunities. But more importantly, I really love the direction that we're headed in terms of diversity and inclusion. But pretty excited, and I can't wait. If we got through 2020, I can't wait to see what 2021 is going to bring. Thanks, Derek.
Awesome. Thanks, Kalina. And that it brings up another angle on this, same kind of question, Sarita, for you. What was that moment, or can you remember that moment when you decided as a professional that you wanted to lean in to becoming a leader, whether a leader of strategy, a leader of business, and what was that specific journey like for you?
It's interesting that you say that, because I think that was one of the first things I thought about is, changing my outlook, because that's the only way that you can change your outcomes. And I can remember when I realized that leadership does not necessarily have to start from the front, it can start from the back. I think that's the moment that you realize that no matter your position, no matter the role that you play, you always have the opportunity to be a leader. And I think that's the thing that we all must remember. I think, when I think about just my growth, especially in the industry, there's a few things that come about. And Kalina, you said this, and Ann, you know this, when you think about coming from diverse backgrounds, oftentimes, and especially as women, you're taught to go along to get along. And I think, and sometimes you wait for others to validate your worth. And one of my little golden nuggets is making sure that I understand and know who I am, and I know my worth. And because the moment I recognize who I am as a person and the abilities that I have, then at that moment, that's when you start to operate in the authority and the power that you're given. The other thing that I also think about is the fact that, it's necessary for us to understand the gifts that we bring and know what our gift is. For me, I have the gift of gab. I can talk to anybody. I love, being able to speak. But then I also know that I have a passion for service. I know that I like to serve others. And so when I think about the role that I play within this organization and the roles that I've played in several organizations, I'm reminded that I'm operating in my purpose, because it's where your gift and your passion align. That's where you find your purpose. And so I always call the work that I do ministry, because that's exactly what it is. And I think we might feel the same for all of us, especially those that have that entrepreneurial spirit. Just in that particular space, you start to realize, okay, where my gift and where my passion align, I'm operating in my purpose. And we don't give up on purpose too easily. And then the last thing that I will say with respect to this is it's necessary as women that we be courageous. The one thing that I've learned and the way in which I got here is by being courageous. There are times where you have to say what people need to hear and not what they want to hear, and be comfortable in that particular space. It might not be liked, but it's appropriate and it's the right thing to do. And I think oftentimes we don't give ourselves credit for being able to speak in that type of way. And then I'll end with this. The one thing that I think that permeates throughout all of this is that we can't forget the opportunity that we have when it comes to work ethic. At the end of the day, everything requires work. And there's not one thing that I have today that somebody has given to me. I have worked extremely hard to get to where I am today. But that was through my leadership. That was through knowing who I am and my value and what I bring to the table. It was making sure that I understood my gift and my passion and all of those different things. But it was also the work ethic, the ability to roll up your sleeves and just work to get the job done. That's a willingness, that you have to have, especially in the space that we're in, as business owners, as realtors out in the marketplace. Those of us that are operating in corporations, large corporations, that we got to work, and we cannot minimize the importance of having good work ethic. Thanks, Derek.
Sarita, that was awesome. Like, courageously step into your purpose. Like,
yes, that's it. That's a statement. That's a motto right there.
Oh, I already wrote it down. I'll give you credit. That was really fantastic. And I think it's a great segue. If 22-year-old Ann knew what 29-year-old Ann knows today, like what would you tell yourself, or what do you have to share with other women who are aspiring to lead? Whether Sarita says it's coming from the front or coming from behind.
Oh, Derek?
You're on, go ahead.
Oh, God. Sorry about that. So I definitely think that if I had to tell myself when I was in my 20s and Sarita said it so well, like, be courageous, take chances. I was more of a cautious person. I think about sometimes the starts and stops in my career where I have 2 children and now they're older. But there was a period of time where I was very, very focused and less focused. I had my career, but I wanted to take a couple steps back just to maintain what I had and be focused on my kids. And then there's other times when you can accelerate. But I think about in my 20s, I was so cautious and I was more afraid of taking chances and changes, that I wish I was more courageous. So, Sarita, I wish maybe you seem to be always that woman that was always courageous. But to me, it was a learned skill. Um, and maybe I always had it in me, Derek, but it came with maturity. And I think I could have taken more chances when I was younger. So for any of those young women out there, like, take chances. You're young, you can recover, be courageous. There's lots of life and opportunities and open doors that'll open for you, but you gotta be willing to step through them, right? And take some risks. But that would be my advice. Thanks.
That's great. And Kalina, I'm looking at you here and thinking about stepping forward and taking chances, and especially in the role that you're in today, which is you're out in public, you lead a great team. It's a newer area of our business, which takes a lot of courage to step into something that isn't hasn't been defined for you, right? You're defining this as we lean forward. Is there any advice that you would give folks that are maybe struggling to find their courage in stepping forward into leadership, whether it's leadership of people or just leadership within their own business, their own day?
Yeah, Derek, I would start with saying it's important to have a little bit of humility too, right? It's great to be courageous, but humility is also very important. I didn't get to this position by myself. And I have to give much credit to very strong mentors and leaders like Sarita and Ann, whose words have forever embedded in my mind. And I've interpreted their example of professionalism and leadership, and hold myself accountable into those same standards. So I think it's very important that when you come to work and when you socialize and when you network, you be your authentic self. It builds a deeper connection with people, but more importantly, it requires less work. Rather than feeling drained and feeling like you lack energy, I think it's very important that you bring your authentic self to work. Being authentic, though, does require a little bit of confidence. So I have to be my own cheerleader sometimes, and it's okay. So sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I tell myself, Kalina, you're great. You're fabulous. You're amazing. Because your mental state has an impact on how you conduct business, and certainly impacts your abilities as you lead a team. And then lastly, I'm a big component and advocate of limiting the amount of excuses in life. And so I always say this quote, anybody that knows me maybe has heard it before, but excuses are the tools of the incompetent. They build monuments to nothingness and bridges to nowhere. And those who excel in them seldom excel in anything else. So I try to always look for the opportunity in life. And if I don't know the opportunity, I've leveraged amazing female leaders. And sometimes it is important to establish yourself with a good, solid network. But yeah, it's been absolutely amazing.
That's so inspirational, Kalina, and empowering in the same sense. Like, take leadership, take ownership, clear out the excuses, positive self-talk, all things that I think everybody could learn from and be motivated by. And it leads me to another question, Sarita. I think in your wheelhouse maybe a little bit, but Kalina was talking about maintaining a good support system and the network that she surrounded herself that helped her get to where she is and gave her that sense of, or helped support that sense of empowerment. In this environment that we're in today with so much uncertainty, whether it be the pandemic or racial unrest, how do you think about balancing your professional responsibilities and thinking about like your network, and how do you lean on your network? How do we support one another to get through what would normally be a tricky year? And this year in particular has been extra tricky. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah. First off, the first thing that I would say, the one way to combat uncertainty is to make sure that you instill yourself with facts, right? So one of the things that I tend to do, especially in an environment like this, is really center myself around fact-based things. I know what I'm well capable of doing. You know, I have the support of my family. I have the support of the work that I have before me, because I have to be mindful that even in this type of environment, there are some folks that don't have work or a place to go to or whatever that they can call work. And so, you know, making sure that you just stay focused on the things that truly matter, the things that you have control over, which tends to be my primary focus. I would also say that, especially during this time, with everything that's going on around me, and I would be remiss in not saying this, is that I tend to have to fall back on my spiritual self. And I would have to say to everybody on this call, not only am I an executive at JP Morgan Chase, but I'm also a reverend. And so that's something that happened probably in 2011 that I didn't foresee. And then 2018, I was actually ordained. And so I would say that that's been very important for me. And I think that's the one thing that has really, truly kept me whole when I think about what we're going through. Because I tend to, and I think I said this earlier, is when you change your outlook, you'll change your outcomes. And so therefore, I tend not to look at what's right before me. I tend to kind of focus on what I haven't seen before, because I know that those things can come. There's a reason that we have dreams. There's a reason that we have the opportunity to have hope for a future and things of that nature. And so I would say that I tend to fall really on my family dynamic, because that's fact-based. That's something I have control over. And then the other piece of it is just really my spiritual mindset and my spiritual self, because that's the one thing that kind of keeps me whole and keeps me focused, because I know that there's hope for tomorrow. So instead of focusing on what's right before us, I have an opportunity to see beyond, what's right in front of me and try to focus on what's in my future. So that's the thing that I will say is that spiritual aspect for me is probably about 90% of what really kind of keeps me focused and stable, and keeps me on a sound foundation.
Sarita, that's awesome. Thank you so much. You know, and we're nearing the end. We've got about 5 minutes left, but I do have one more question that I'd like to squeeze in, and same question for each of you. How do you think that women can best move forward to support other women and proactively reach out to be a part of somebody else's purpose, to be a part and support of somebody else's network? Is there one piece of advice or one tactic or one thing that everybody could take away today to sort of pay it forward and be a source of positivity and empowerment for somebody else? And maybe Kalina, let's just start with you.
Yeah, Derek, I think you just hit it on the head. Pay it forward, right? I'm a huge believer that women should be a sounding board for one another. Sometimes the concept of sharing is so overrated. And when I think about the opportunities for women, there's plenty of opportunities, but sometimes as women, we tend to think there's limited space. So we have to certainly change that mindset and stop operating in fear. So a positive mindset is so important. Women are more inclined to take more risk, and we're extremely expressive. But we just need to come together and encourage each other, empower each other, to drive change.
Awesome. Thanks, Kalina. And what do you think?
I think collectively it's all the small things. I think that whether it's you send a text to bring somebody up, whether or not you check in with some of these women where they know they're having a hard time. Kalina and I often have little chats, share texts of encouragement, because we need it. And I think that if you display someone who's open to being open with others, Be a truth teller. This is not always about making everything nice and good and perfect. Sometimes as women, we need direct feedback in a kind way, right? In an authentic way. I think it's when you build that trust is when you can do that. I know when I choose my friends personally, I choose people that are truth tellers and people that would give me, that I could have an authentic, honest relationship. And that's no different in a professional setting, where often I think that Colleen is right. Like, I feel like sometimes we felt in the past there's limited space. I think that there are no limited spaces, but I think it's what we create. I think we need to surround ourselves with positive people. Um, and let's face it, Kalina said it best. Like, there are times in the morning when you got to tell yourself you're good, because we have a lot of self-doubt sometimes, and we've got to talk ourselves out of that. But I also think, as a friend, as a colleague, like, your other friends and colleagues need that uplifting too. They need that little text. They need that word of encouragement. um, they need to actually be able to call you and say, gosh, this is really bothering me, and I was really disappointed, or I'm sad about this. Or sometimes it's just even personal things that are going on. A lot of us have children. A lot of us know that things don't always go right 24/7. And it's those times that we can lean in. Thanks.
And that was awesome. I mean, you said a lot of really great stuff there, but one thing that really stands out is just authenticity and kindness. And those two things can go together, and just being really intentional about reaching out and checking in with your network and ensuring that they know that you're there to support them, but with truthfulness. And I think that that's really powerful. Sarita, how do you think about, you're busy, you're new to Chase. You said, well, it's been 2 months, you got a lot on your plate right now. How do you find the time to be intentional about supporting other women in their professional journeys and careers?
Yeah, I think you just hit the one word that is like the nail in the coffin, and that is intentional. I think we cannot underestimate the importance of intentional connectivity. That's what I'm going to call it. I get back to what Ann said. It's the small things that matter. I can recall, and I'll just give you an example of what it means when you just connect with folks. I missed a call from one of my friends the other night, and she was going to have a big day on Sunday. She was speaking and all of these different things, and I missed the call. And I thought, well, gosh, it's about 11 o'clock at night. I don't want to call her this time of night. Maybe I'll just call her tomorrow. But I felt like it was important for her to hear from me prior to going into that setting. And so that 11 o'clock that night, I knew I was going to be leaving a voicemail message. And I wasn't quite sure how it was coming across, because I didn't have a canned speech or anything like that. But it was just one of those things where you call and you say, I just want to wish my sister much success tomorrow. I'm thinking for you. I'm praying with you. I'm there in spirit, so on and so forth. And I just went on and on because I was just so excited about her opportunity. That next night, she called me and she said, you do not know what that meant to me. The power that I felt going into that session, and knowing that I had someone that had my back and knew that I could do it more so than I thought that I could. And I think it's those moments that you realize the importance of friendships, the importance of sharing, the importance of connectivity. And as women, we need that. I think sometimes we think that we can operate without it, but it's not the case. You need those BFFs at work. You need those BFFs at home. You need them in your family so that you can have folks that will hold you accountable, that will lift you up when you need to be lifted up, that will just walk with you along the way, especially when you're going forth with all of your different endeavors. That level of connectivity is necessary. What we're doing today is amazing. The fact that we have an opportunity to listen to folks and become lifelong learners and get some insights and inputs, that oftentimes these are things that we've heard before, but to hear them again, it just really kind of puts it inside your heart so that you can begin to operate a little bit more with those tools that you need in order to go forth. And so doing things like this more frequently Sometimes it can not be with 200 or 300 people, but maybe it's just 2 or 3 people getting together or whatever the case may be. But don't underestimate just the importance of connectivity, especially in this way, so that we can become lifelong learners and appreciate each other in our gifts that we bring to the table. And I'll say this, and I'll end with this, and I think I said this last night in a Bible discovery. We were blessed to be a blessing. And so when we think about the roles that we have and the opportunities that we have, even though they might be small in some form or big in others, we still have an opportunity to bless others and to make sure that we're serving and giving unto others. And I think that's the one thing that I would leave you guys with, is that when we think about our purpose in life is to serve. And this is one of the ways in which we can do that.
Wow. All right. What a way to close it out. Our blessing is to bless. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, Sarita. Thank you, Ann, Sugai, and Kalina Sanders. You guys were really, really fantastic. We really appreciate you coming together today. And of course, a huge thank you to the Women's Council for having us out. Thank you for all the attendees. And we hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Well done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chase. We love you.
Thank you. Thank you. That was phenomenal.
And we have this
Thank
panel
you,
in California, ladies.
Love, 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 love.
Thank you.
Sarita.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Great session, Miss Sarita and all the other ladies. Great.
Thank you.
Can we get this panel together in
I
California?
heard you, Teresa.
Everybody,
Bye.
okay,
Thank you. It was so great.
okay,
We heard you.
okay, thank you. Hey, Eileen! Madam Prezi!
Well, my girls.
Hi,
Our
Eileen.
president, our president.
Team.
Oh, look, we miss you already.
Miss you
I
guys.
know. I miss you too. My California people.
Yikes.
Yikes,
Thank you, Sarita. Thank you so much. Good
that was
information.
amazing.
Yeah. And I love your last name,
you.
Sarita.
I know.
Sarita Battles.
I love it.
Awesome.
I love
Like
it.
a warrior
Hi,
princess.
everyone. Nice to meet
Yeah.
everyone.
I think when I
Sarita,
first came to Women's Council, Sarita, I told the ladies that I was with, I said, this is like church. It's on a
I
professional.
love it. Love, love, love.
It really
was
is. That's
great.
what it felt like to me.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Great.
thank you,
And what-
guys.
And what is Sarita's last name?
Like-minded.
Battles.
All right, I already Facebook friended you.
Just battling it out.
Sarita.
I will remove someone for you.
Yes.
Amen. Me too.
Awesome name.
God bless you,
What an
Sarita.
Awesome and appropriate
Thank you.
name.
Thank you.
Sarita
Oh,
Battle.
thank you.
Wow.
Oh, Miss Clemens, look who's
Yes,
here.
hello, everybody.
There's Barbara.
Rita, where were you prior to coming to Chase?
Wells Fargo for
Okay,
9 years, and before Wells, Bank of America, and before
Wow.
Bank of America, Chase. So I'm back home.
so
you go.
you're
Full
not
circle.
you're not afraid of the challenges.
No, not at all. I'm walking right into them. I think the challenges is what increases your gift and your power.
There you
Without
go.
struggle, there's no progress. So
So true. Yes.
Very good.
yeah,
Hi,
All right, we
Christina.
expect a lot from Chase. We expect it.
yeah, and do hold us accountable.
All right, I love that.
Yeah, we gotta
San
get you in
Diego
California.
loves Chase.
What was it that you said, Miss Sarita? What was it that you said? The challenges increase your.
Gift. Your gifts. Yes, because you get to operate in them even the more. It's always for purpose. And so, when you come about challenges, that's when you really tap into the gift that you've been given. And again, it typically gets you through.
Mm.
And I also think you go a lot by your strong faith.
Yes, that has been like the one thing. If I had to put it on one thing, I know a lot of people don't like to talk about that. They don't like to mix the corporate and the, but I mix it all together because that's who I am. I can't operate any other way because that's a part of, I bring my best self to work, and that's part of self.
That's great.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And, you know, I think that oftentimes we feel like we have to compartmentalize ourselves, but that's just not the way that women are, I think.
No,
We're like a big alphabet soup, and it's really hard to put the A's over there and the B's over there and the C's over there. It just all swims together. And that's how you have to present yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Sarita, thank you for your kind words, and thank you for being a disciple of the Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
Oh,
Amen.
thank you so much.
Praise
Thank
God.
you so much.
That was so, it's been so touching and inspiring to the spirit. So thank you for
Absolutely. I had some
shining your
tears.
light on us all.
That's what I
Thank you.
said when I came here. I was like, those first conference, I said, this is church. And the girls I was with in my network said, really? I said, this is exactly what we do at church. You replace yourself every year. You look for someone else to replace you.
Yeah.
You stand and pass on to the ones coming behind you. You share, you invest in someone else.
It's ministry. And at the end of the day, I always tell people, especially in the church that I am, they want to place me into a church to pastor. And I always say, I don't think God called me to pastor. You know, he does have people in corporations and other places, because again, we all kind of make the world, you know, we create the kingdom. So at the end of the day, he puts all of us in our respectable places. And so I don't necessarily have to just do it in the walls of the church or virtually.
Amen.
I mean, you can do it at work too. And all it is just pouring out and serving people in a way so that when they see you, they see God. And that's all it is. And I think we all have those abilities. And so again, I just always tell people just to go forth and minister in your work, because that's a form of it. That's what he needs from you.
Yes.
What he needs from you. And so just go forward.
Awesome.
Sarita, do you mind if I call you every single morning for a little bit? I could listen to you all day.
That is so nice. You guys are so encouraging, because ministry is not easy. And then especially, you know, when you're working and you're trying to balance all of that, and your wife and your mother, and it's not easy. So this is very encouraging, which gets back to what we said today around how important it is to encourage each other. You know, we just cannot forget how important that is. And I will tell you, at this particular time, it's a reason why I stayed a little later, I guess, but it's at this particular time that I need your encouragement. And I didn't know I was going to get it in this form today. And so that's why I said nothing happens by happenstance. It's all divine purpose. And so today, you know, all the work was divine. So I thank all of you for just staying around. I don't think, Jillian, I don't think we expected this, but I would just tell you that, you know, again, you guys have really, you know, my heart burns because I really needed this today, just given some of the things that I'm going through.
Amen. Bless your heart. Bless your heart.
Sarita.
So Wilson, what do you
Be
say?
encouraged. May I say that this is why our husbands let us go when we're like, oh, we're going to a women's council conference. We're going, gotta go, Bobby. As we go and we're excited and we so love to see each other, and they jam pack in 3 days, all of this stuff, and we don't sleep, and we're so excited to be with each other because it really is what you need. So please don't keep it to yourself. Tell your friends. Women's Council is here to, we're sisters who build each other up in a professional manner, and you just don't get that at your board. You don't get it at your association. You don't get it at Brooker, anywhere. Tell people to come here, because this is why we're here, to encourage each other. And that's what everyone does. I haven't met anyone in Women's Council.
Yeah, spirit. I was just thinking that. You never know who you're going to inspire or who's going to inspire you. That's
Exactly. If I may make a comment,
if I can make where they're going to touch, you know, so that's the beauty of it.
Amen.
If I may make a comment, the next session started at 12:45, and it's a 30-minute breakout room for the mental health and breakout networking. If Miss Sarita, because I'm sure there's ladies over there right now, if there's any way Miss Sarita
right here.
I'm sorry?
We are in the mental health breakout room right here.
I thought they have to go to another lead.
No.
The link is here. Okay, so then I'm in the right room.
Yeah.
We never left. You're in the right room.
We are.
Okay, good.
This is our mental health break.
But the important thing to remember with it being our Power Week of Wealth, Health, and Self, we have to look at our own spirituality also. And I think what's happening is that we understand that Sarita, you have given us kind of like a lifeline today, you know, something that we can grab onto and try to include that or weave our spirituality into this Power Week. And that's been really special, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Amen. Let the church say amen. Well, I'm glad I was able to segue you guys into this session. And I just want to say I so thank you and look forward to partnering with you all. Now that I'm over here at JP Morgan Chase, I know that they are so committed to the partnership that we have with the Women's Council. And I just want to let you know that I am just delighted to be a part of the firm and just be a part of this work that you guys are doing. So if you need me for anything, don't hesitate to reach out. I'll be there. If you want me to participate in anything or whatever the case may be, I will do my best to make sure that I can be a part of it.
So where can we find your information?
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna have a bunch of.
Where do we?
So what I'll do is, I think Jillian may have it, but if not, we'll make sure that she gets it and then she can share with the group. And again, I'm not too far away. I'm right there in home lending, so you'll find me and probably see a lot more of me in the near future as I start to get acclimated within the organization.
I've already found everybody on LinkedIn.
Yay, and I'm definitely out there. All right, have a good one.
Thank you, Sarita.
Bye, Jeff. I see you down there.
Thank you, Sarita.
Thank you so much.
All right,
We're
take
here
care.
for you.
Thank you. I need it. Thank you.
Thank
you for blessing us.
Yes.
Yes, a true blessing.
That was awesome.
Thanks for joining us, Sarita.
Awesome indeed.
Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to the ambassadors now for our networking and mental health break. And I see Tammy, I see Kay. So you all have a activity, I'm pretty sure, right?
We have the bingo sheet, but I mean, I think after all that, we might still want to keep talking about all the great things that we received from Women's Council, because that's sort of what this is at. I don't know how to transfer from that to bingo. It really doesn't work that way. So
I love it.
I would like to hear some more of your wonderful stories, because this is what Women's Council is really all about. This right here, what we just went through.
I have a story. Sabrina Walters.
Yes, ma'am.
Carol Altman has been a very strong support to me, sending me positive messages. Not just me, I'm sure she's sending them to the other sisters, but I lost my mother in March and it was hard. And Carol has just been an absolute dear. And that's what Women's Council brings. And we continue to say that, and that is so true. Not just business, but we have each other, which is wonderful. So shout out to you, Carolyn.
Thank you so much. Don't make me cry. I truly feel like it's the Women's Council's way to have each other's back and to support each other regardless of the situation. And my heart goes out to everybody. I mean, my heart is hoping everyone, and I definitely am missing my hugs this week. That's for sure.
I know. Golly, virtual hug, everybody, virtual hug. But surely we would all get COVID if we got together, that's for sure.
Tammy, I'm missing
that
tour.
that we have going on. So this is fabulous. Does anybody else want to share maybe a testimony, something that you have gone through just with, well, we just started last night, but between now and what we just experienced? What have you gotten from the council thus far in this health, wealth, and fitness that we're doing?
I would like to share.
Sure.
So I'm from El Paso. Our COVID situation is really bad over here. And I'm single. I don't have any children. I I live for my mom and my special needs sister. But during this time that I'm basically locked up, it's been the Women's Council members, the ladies here locally, the ladies outside of town, that they're keeping me sane. They're supporting me. They pick up the phone and they call me to see how I'm doing physically, mentally, because this can get a little bit hard when you're all by yourself. So if it weren't for these wonderful, wonderful, wonderful relationships that I created through Women's Council, I think I'd honestly be in a really, really bad depression right now.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Yeah.
We're so
So,
glad that
I was talking with someone on one of the breakout sessions, and like we've had in other, like in our small areas, we've had like Zoom meetings for interests, like wine tasting, cooking. So we, a bunch of people get on Zoom and have this wonderful experience. And I'm thinking, just because you're saying that, Claudia, that it would be great to have something like that with Women's Council. So it would be like a pop-in, right? So here, we're just, we're open starting Tuesday at 12 o'clock. So anybody who wants to pop in can, we can
pop in
and yeah, plug in, pop in and plug in. Yes. And have that boost of energy or boost of confidence or just a word for our members to keep them going in times like this. So I think that would be an excellent way to stay connected.
There you go.
Tammy, if I could say something.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Christine from Florida, and in August we had our annual conference, and it was all virtual. And in addition to the educational aspects and the business aspects, we did do these networking sessions, just threw them in, throughout the day. And they were completely unmanned. We didn't have ambassadors. It was just like you show up and whoever's there, just start a conversation. And I have to tell you, of all the things that we did, the most enthusiastic responses that I got when the whole event was over was how amazing the network rooms were, how much fun everyone had laughing with each other, at each other. And it just goes to show you that one of the things that Women's Council does is it does bring us all together in a safe and secure atmosphere, so that we can just sort of let our hair down and be ourselves. And that is sorely missed. I think COVID obviously is affecting so many people from a financial perspective and from a social perspective. I think we're all now aware more than anything else how very important it is that we have that kind of social connection with other people. So Claudia, I hear you, and I'm here for you if you ever need somebody to just call and chat. And I wrote your name down, and you will be hearing from me. I have a daughter who lives in Seattle, and if it weren't for her little puppy, she would be all by herself, and it just breaks my heart. So I get it. And we all have to really support one another and just reach out.
That's true. Does anybody else have something that they want to share with us that you have received from the council thus far? I know we've only been on for about 24 hours so far. So like to hear from everybody else. Go ahead. Hey, Maria.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Maria Johnson from Riverside, California. I'm in president-elect for 2021 in this coming year. I lost my sister in June, and it's been very, very difficult. But Women's Council has been such a blessing, because without it, I think I would be in a mental hospital. But I really appreciate all the people I've met, and it's kept my mind focused and on what I have to do, my goals, my vision. And sometimes, I backtrack, but all these events that are happening, I just get back on the wagon and I move forward. And I really appreciate this network. And I've known about it for so many years, but I never took that. That chance. And, everything happens for a reason within your time. And I think it was my time to actually join this organization and and go from there and move forward. But thank you to everyone.
It's so awesome, Maria. We're sorry for your loss, but we're so glad that you're finding strength within Women's Council and within the relationships that you are actually receiving from, because that's really what it's all about. It's about the bonds, the relationships, being able to connect with one another. So anybody else have
100%.
something that they've gone through or they're dealing with right now, or any great things that's happened to you in the last 24 hours that Women's Council has been live with our conference?
Can I make a comment?
Yes,
this is
ma'am.
Peggie
Hey, Peggie.
Pentecost, Tammy from Houston. How are
Nice
you?
to see you. Good to see you.
This is really great. I'm so glad you're doing this. And what I'd like to say is that we are always so serious and businesslike. And at this time, a lot of people are going through a lot of things, and life is still going on.
Yes.
And people still have lots of issues, and it's harder than ever for them to get an outlet and an opportunity, maybe to vent or to have a way to sort through those by talking with their friends one-on-one. So much can be lost over the phone or even on Zoom. So I would say that maybe the calling right now is more than ever to be hyper sensitive to what might be going on in anyone's life, and maybe stop and breathe when we encounter some of the things that we encounter, and get off of take our serious business hat off, and maybe just, be a little more understanding, because as Claudia says, it's really hard for me to imagine what it must be like to be completely alone. And while we can all try to put ourselves in that position, I do have somebody in my house, he's here, my husband is here, and even if he may be in his office and I'm in mine, it's still, I'm not alone.
Exactly.
So I get that feeling, and I understand your concern about your daughter, Christina. That is really tough. So I would just say to everybody right now that there's that this is a calling to maybe reach out and be a little more careful about what someone might be going through without us even knowing, in the course of trying to be businesslike. And
exactly. That was so true, Peggy. So true. I mean, we really, each one of us, we all, like I said, are in the storm together, but every one of us really is in a different boat, going in a different direction. And until we stop sometimes and just, like you said, listen to what other people are going through, because, we're all not out here selling every day, and we're all not positive. I haven't seen my mom since November of last year. And I probably won't see her for maybe a couple more months. So every one of us deals with things in a different way. And you never know what someone is going through. And this is so important, because we always think that Women's Council is about the business, but it's really about these bonds that we really do need with each other. So this is really, really absolutely.
It's about the heart too.
Yeah.
The business, and that's the other piece, right? The heart piece. So that's what makes us Women's Council.
Yes.
All, leaders, business women and men, but that element is that connects us all. That's the heart piece. And
absolutely.
So,
our first name is women.
Absolutely.
Tammy, I'd like to share something.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Melo-de Savage, and I am from San Diego County, and I am currently the District Vice President for District 3. When we went into shelter in place, and everything that we knew or I knew to be normal really changed. I'm gonna get emotional. And what was really wonderful for me was that when our state leadership provided a place, and I shared this because it provided a place for me to have normalcy, to know that at any given time, during the time that we were going through so many things, that our state leadership put on events. They just ran with it, and they provided a place. They really don't even know this. They provided a place for me to have the normal portion of my life that was so disrupted because I have a shortened lung capacity because I've had lung surgery. So I was just stricken with fear when this happened, and I didn't want to go outside for months. And then it changed because I saw that people were still now starting to do things and, providing more services, going out. But it just started opening and evolving and took that fear away. And I have my faith in the Lord. But boy, I tell you, as one that loves to be around people and that didn't happen, it was a wonderful place for me. And so I give much praise to our leadership for doing that for the many that may not have realized that that they needed a place to go to as well.
Amen. Wonderful.
They rolled out from the very beginning. And I'm like you. I think the candid conversations and the, trying to figure out Zoom and how to do the Zoom thing and all the little, jokes behind the Zoom thing. But I really think that they knew what we needed and they came out and gave it to us. And that is why we're in this particular conference right now, because I really believe that each and every one of us need this, and we need the education, all those things too. But this is why this conference is here for this moment, this time, right now, because we all are dealing with things differently. And this is a great thing. I feel more inspired, and I feel, sort of brought a different piece to it, and I feel a real reformed energy by listening to all the things that each and every one of you are going through. But the fact that you took it back to Women's Council and said, this is where I've got my energy from and my grace from. So this is awesome. Anybody else like to share?
I'd like to share.
I'll share.
Claudia. Huh? Oh, hi everyone. My name is Claudia Diaz, incoming President 2021 for our South Bay Network. Same with my situation. I have 3 little ones, so it was really, really difficult with the homeschooling. The teenager, he's able to connect with friends via, online and stuff. But my little one, he's 9. So to him, he's used to play dates, and I could see the difference, right? They're all different. So it was a little different just to try to pivot as a parent on how we're gonna make this work. I dread for people that live in apartments that don't have that extra space, that don't have a balcony, or don't, that they're actually in their home. So I think it's been a moment of having empathy towards people all around us, praying for them. But I think what has helped me and kept me strong is being in Women's Council, being able to call up, the leaders, feel their support overall, because when we look up to our leaders, right? And when we see that they're going through the same thing and they're pivoting and they're motivating us, that gives to us, that is a blessing. Absolutely. They bless us and we bless others to try to motivate, and just anyone around us, our clients, our family, and just people that are also becoming leaders. So I think being in Women's Council, I just want to thank our leaders. Eileen, thank you so much. She's always been, she's our president, and she's done so much. It's a difficult year. It's as difficult for us being in COVID, let alone with family and everything, but just to lead, and how she's done it so beautifully with grace and love. I want to thank her. I want to thank all our leaders for just being so supportive. And thank you guys so much.
That is so beautiful. So beautiful, Claudia. So beautiful.
I'd love to share, if I may.
Yeah, I think Vicki was next. If we could let Vicki talk.
I just want to say that I don't know how many of you out there are I'm still teary-eyed from today. And because I know what has gotten me through has been getting closer to the Lord. And I started a Bible study on March 19th that still continued, and we did it every single day at noon. And now it's Monday through Friday. And so this morning segment, and then the Women's Council, our spirit sisters, someone posted that earlier. We really are. We uplift one another. We encourage one another. All of us are authentic. We're real. We share the good. We share the ugly. We share it all. And yes, our leaders, our state leaders, and even people that have started other groups. I know, Kama, she started one, and we were in it for, I know Claudia was in it, Renee, and there was a group of us, and she started this. It was a 90-day program that we met every 2 weeks, and it was leadership building. And it was amazing. We had people from Women's Council in there. We had other people there. And I just wanted to share that this is all priceless. And my name, by the way, Vicki Cummings, Ventura County. I'm president, and I'll be district vice president next year. And thank you, my Women's Council sisters, spirit sisters.
Thank you so much,
Thank you, Vicki. I'm gonna, yeah.
There you go. Sorry, Jillian.
I think I'm unmuted. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. We're just going to have to wrap up now. The next session just started 2 minutes ago. Okay. So anybody who wants to hop on the next session, we'd love to see you there.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing today. This was a really powerful session.
Thank you, ladies. We'll see you on the next session. It's coming up later on this afternoon.
Thank you, Tammy, too. This is better than bingo.
This was a great idea, Tammy. Good,
good. Good call. Good call.
Stuff.
Yeah, it was.
We need this. Yes.
That's called
Love you guys.
The room, Tammy.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.